Welcome back, miscreants. Today we're going to learn how to read a fractional tape measure. What that means is that it measures in fractions of an inch. So let's take a look here. First of all, just a note, the hook is going to wiggle. We want that. The rivets are loose enough that it allows it to move back and forth so that whether you're hooking it on the outside of something or butting it up against something, we should get the same measurement both ways. So don't worry about that if your hook is jiggling. We want that. But anyway, let's look at our markings on this tape. I'm going to try to lock this down so that it's not moving on me and it frees up the other hand. So let's just look between the 2 and the 3 here, the 2-inch and 3-inch mark. We have all these little gradations. And if we go halfway between, that tallest mark is the 1/2 inch mark. Now, if we cut that in half, we get a 1/4 inch, and that's the next tallest. Half of that, again, is an 1/8 of an inch. That's our next tallest. And the shortest is halfway between the 1/8 of an inch, which is a 1/16 of an inch. So this is a pretty standard fractional tape. All the gradations go down to 1/16 of an inch. So an easy way is to just count 1/16. Of course, that would mean that you'd have to do a little bit of math to simplify the fraction in some cases, but let's take a look here. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to mention that when you are reading the tape, it's good to push down against whatever line or thing you're looking at, because that's going to change your reading just a little bit. So let's measure. I put some random marks on this board here just to give us some things to practice. Let's measure that first one there from the end of this board here, or edge rather. We're just going to go across, and now we're between the 1 and the 2, so that's 1 inch. And how much more? Well, if we look here, it's right on this, I'd say, kind of medium line. And it's right after the 1/2 inch mark, so we can start with a 1/2, and then this line here is an 1/8, so it'd actually be 5/8. Or if we want to count up, so we're looking at the line that is that high. So let's go back here and count. There's 1 of those, 2 of those, 3, 4, 5/8. Or if we counted 16ths, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10/16. We can simplify that to 5/8 though. So that would be 1 inch and 5/8. So let's write that down there so you can see what that's going to look like. Hopefully you can see my pencil marks with the glare. Now let's measure the next one here. And again, I'm pushing down on the blade so that it lays as close to the surface as possible. Now this one, it's kind of in between lines, and I'll show you a little trick to that. I guess first I should mention, when you're doing a project, it's good to know what your tolerance is. You need to decide ahead of time, are you going to measure everything to the nearest 1/8 or measure everything to the nearest 16th? Or is the closest 1/4 inch close enough for what you're doing? It really varies. So, but just for the sake of conversation here, I'm going to try and get it as detailed as possible. So now we're between the 2 and the 3. So past the 2 is 2 inches, and let's just count up here. Well, it's almost to the 1/2 inch mark, but it's not quite. It's actually, I would say, a little bit closer to this one here. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7/16. Or since it's kind of right in between there, I would say it's closer to halfway between those. So what's 1/2 of a 16th? A 32nd. So if you want to get really detailed, we could say we're 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 32nds. So 2 and 15 32nds is what I would call that, but 2.5 is probably close enough for most people doing some woodworking or whatever. Now moving on to this next one here, I'm going to unlock that and get that out of the way a little better. All right, so now we're kind of right in between there, but for the sake of keeping things simple with this one, let's just say we're going to go to the nearest 16th, which I would say that's closer to this 16th mark there. And because it is the shortest line on there, we know it's going to be a 16th. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 16ths. So 3 and 5 16ths. 3 and 5 16ths. You could probably write better than me, but all right, let's do our last line, number 4 here. That's going to be 4, and looks like it's just past the 4.5. So 4 and 9 16ths, because we know that the half would be 8 16ths, because 8 is half of 16. Add a 16th to that, and that's 9 16ths. So 4 and 9 16ths. Now let's go back to this number 2 here, where we measured super exactly, but we're going to say, oh, we're just doing some framing. In that case, that's pretty much 2.5. So let's just write 2.5 there. Anyway, I hope this helps reading a fractional tape. If you have any questions or know better how to explain this than I do, feel free to have fun in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.